Hey everyone, so today on this episode we are going to take off this steering wheel from the Fiesta and we're going to fit this one. The reason being is because I want to have this one on the Laguna track car and I want to have this one because it's got the red stitching and it's just a little bit, how do I say it, it's more street, sort of modern. You could almost accuse it of being a bit, I don't know, a bit chavvy. The Laguna, I'm trying to keep it very sort of sophisticated and original and none of this. I'm not a fan of Kode in general. I think they sort of appeal to more of like the scene market, but hey, that's just me. So this one is a flat wheel. This one, as you can see, is a dished wheel. You can see just there it has a dish out. As a result, I have a spacer here, so I'm going to remove the wheel and the horn push and the spacer, take that off together, and then I'm going to take the steering wheel and fit that on, and I will take the spacer over to the Laguna and we will end up having this wheel in here and this wheel in the Laguna, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so first things first with this, we are going to pick gently to get the old horn push off, which me being me isn't even attached to anything anyway, because who actually uses a horn unless the accident's already been and gone? So we will pull off this steering wheel. In fact, while I'm still here, set the steering wheel perfectly straight. That's a good point. Oh wow, that one's a little bit round. Be careful of that one. This isn't really a how-to. It's kind of a how-to, but the thing is, I've already taken the steering wheel off, so there's only so much. Oh wow, that's just cheap Chinese bolts, man. Be careful. Be very careful. They're made of cheese. There we go. Right, so that's all of them loose. So, there goes the wheel. Here is my spacer. The reason for that is, as you can see, that steering wheel is completely straight, and it was sitting so close that I would clock myself on all of the dials and I'd be indicating when I'm turning and all sorts of fancy stuff. Wipers would be on holiday playing silly buggers. Right, so I need to find what looks to be a 6mm Allen key and we'll take this off. Funny story, this thing is like some cheap Chinese and they made it slightly too small for all these screws that I had, so I had to put the screws in a drill and use it like a makeshift lathe and file down a very, very, very tiny amount off them so that they would fit in, otherwise they were too much of an interference fit. I don't know if you can see, but they are sort of ground down on the edges. Now I need to take the boss off this because that's the Laguna boss. Right, so these screws, I want to keep these screws directly with this boss just to make sure that the threads are correct for the pair, because they do get paired up. And then this one can go directly on there, and you see how that spacer plus that steering wheel is basically the same as that steering wheel. Motamec horn pushers are sprung. So you gotta do that first. There you go. So actually, I'm not a fan of Kode, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's definitely not as strong as the Motamec ones. It's not as strong as Sabel or whatever. But yeah, it's not terrible. So yeah, that's that done. Right, so we now just need to work out what we're doing regarding this this setup. Fucking hell, I did that uptight. Right, balls are straight. Okie doke. Once that's out, leave it slightly on. Oh yeah. Renaults, man. No fun. Jesus Christ. So guys, that's that then. 1 times Motamec steering wheel on the Laguna, 1 times Kode steering wheel, now with no spacer on the Fiesta ST. The red stitching suits far better on that, and this has a much more classic look. It doesn't yet have a horn push. I've managed to find a horn push with one of the classic 1990s styled Renault logo. So that will be what goes on here. Obviously, I probably won't have a horn anyway because this boss doesn't have any holes to go through it. And I've also removed all the squib and everything. It doesn't mean to say that I can't have a horn. There are 2 positive and a negative underneath here. There are two wires that I can crimp off, and I can run a horn somewhere else. So I might run a horn into something just to, if I do go through the MOT legal route on this. In other news, I've managed to source an SM intake manifold that sits off the front, which means that I can now progress with the engine. So that will be another episode coming pretty soon. I managed to get it for about half of the price of what I expected. So that's all very good news. So lots to look forward to. Also, can you, in the comments, please put merchandise ideas for designs of things that you want to see. I've already done a little bit on Instagram. My Instagram is at Chris the Car Builder. I've found that most people are sort of after t-shirts and stickers. somebody wanted a keyring, a couple of people want hoodies. Hoodies, I think, will become more of a popular thing later on into the winter. But for now, pretty soon, I'm speaking to somebody at the moment about doing some graphic design for me. There'll be new logos coming out for stickers, and then there'll be some themed t-shirts for this build and for the Fiesta build, and then whatever comes in the future. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.